Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome. It is your boy Big Trill back at it again with another video. We're going to be talking about wine studies today. This is how you get involved in wine. There's a bunch of ways to do it, and we're going to talk about it today. So, if you want to learn a little bit about wine, you can do that here, or you can just go about it by yourself. But I'm going to offer you some guidelines today. So, most importantly, before you learn about wine, I'm going to ask you why you want to learn about wine. Okay, are you an alcoholic? Are you kind of trying to um, cover up for something? Are you trying to turn your love of alcoholic beverages and drinking to intoxication into something that is fancy or something that is sophisticated? That's up to you. Are you trying to impress people? Did you get invited to Dorsia for the second time and you couldn't figure out the wine list and now you're embarrassed because your finance bro buddies all found out that you are a cuck and you don't know anything about wine? What a loser. Third option is poor decision maker. That is me. That is everyone in our business who has chosen to work in either the restaurant business or hospitality business. Poor decision, long hours, long stretches, not a whole lot of salaries in the beginning of the world. So yeah, pretty tough. Number four, you are a psycho. You just want to learn about stuff. You like wine. You don't even drink wine. You just want to learn about stuff. You can do that. That's cool. It's up to you. It's super interesting. I love what I do. And there's a lot of opportunities and there's a shit ton of stuff to learn. So another possible reason is to impress the ladies. It is very true. As a wine professional, you will be surrounded by a lot of women who drink alcohol. I live and work in the Napa Valley. There are a lot of really cringy bachelorette parties that come here. They are all usually single or willing to cheat on their husbands when they're here. So that is definitely a vibe. If you are interested in that, that is an opportunity for you. And then last but not least, undiagnosed narcissistic personality disorder, anything else that you'd see in the DSM-5. There's a lot of, once again, a lot of crazy people in this business, especially the higher up you go, the more challenged some of these people are. And we're going to go through that today. So if you're interested in learning about wine, there's two major routes to learning about wine, two traditional routes, whether you're in the business or not, or you're just a pleb. You have the WSET and you have the Court of Master Sommeliers. I like to call it the light side and the dark side. I won't tell you which one is which, but you can probably figure it out for yourself. Let's start with the light side. With the light side, the education is provided. It's generally chill and humble environment. These folks don't take themselves too seriously. There's a ton of great job offers, great job prospects after your completion. You can work at pretty much any level of the business that you want to. And then an added bonus, kind of a sub bonus here. There's a ton of bitches in this program. I took uh, uh, I took an exam, one of 6 exams for a very high level advanced WSET program. And there was like probably 40 people in the class. In the class. There were probably 40 people in the examination room. I think like only 7 or 8 of us were men. The rest were women. And relatively attractive women. So shout out to the light side. Let's scoot over to the dark side here. There's literally zero education provided outside of a paywall. A lot of the information is available to everyone, so you can access that information on the light side. The dark side does not really provide a lot of in-house information. Secondarily, whatever, super arrogant people at literally every step of the ladder. So these guys are just generally, and gals, and definitely gals too, are really, it's tough to be in a room with these people. You'll do your tasting sessions, you'll meet these people. As soon as you can get a breath of fresh air, you get the hell out of the room, and you part ways with these motherfuckers. You do have to be, somewhat of like and I want to be respectful about this, but you have to be at some level of like autism or Asperger's to be a part of this program at the advanced and master level. You just have to. Low social skills, low social mobility. Yeah, you might know a lot of flashcards and a lot of producers and all this bullshit. But guess what? Nobody fucks with you, bro. So next bullet point here. You're pretty much doomed to a restaurant. And kind of going back to what I just said, not because you lack skills or diversity in your skill set, but literally because nobody likes you. You are a bitch. And next point, literally no bitches. So this is a predominantly male environment. Super. I'm not really saying anything out of pocket here, but super boys club. You know, it's a guild. Oh, shit. It's a club. It's a guild. It's a private entity. They are allowed to do whatever they want, but it's been out there in recent history that these guys kind of sucks. Also, literal sex offenders. So google.com, ladies and gentlemen. I don't have to tell you nothing. So, but yeah, so you want to go down one of these two paths or possibly both. I have educations in both. You can totally do that if you want, but you only need to really go down one. And I'll let you decide, you know, if you want to go on the light or the dark side. But regardless of your path, this is what you're looking at. Okay. You're looking at maps, you're looking at laws, you're looking at numbers, dates, families, people, history, you're looking at chemistry, microbiology, plant science, trellising, all that stuff. Languages. The more languages you know, the better. I'm an American. I was born in California. I don't know shit. I know a little bit of Spanish. That barely helps you in this business. Also, bonus, if you're interested in learning all this, if you do not now, or you have never, or you don't have an illegal way of acquiring these things, Adderall and Xanax are both highly suggested. So yeah. First point, we're going to go over maps. Okay. Maps are incredibly important in our business. You're going to be looking at a fuck ton of maps. These are some of the DeLong wine maps. I highly suggest these maps if you are serious about advanced and master level candidacy. You need to purchase these maps. This is not a paid advertisement or anything like that. Shout out to DeLong if they do want to support my terrorism of the wine business. I really would appreciate it. Shout out to DeLong, but these are the best wine maps. So what you're looking at here is hundreds of regions, sub-regions, sub-sub-sub-regions, mountains, valleys, plains, rivers, estuaries, all that bullshit. You are going to look at hundreds of different maps. You're going to trace maps. You're going to draw maps by hand. You need to learn everything you can about the geography and topography of all of these countries that we're going to study. Okay. The reality is there are 10 major countries. There are roughly 13 minor or what we call emerging regions or countries. There's a few ancestral countries. Think like Jordan, think Armenia, stuff like that. The Fertile Crescent, all that bullshit. There, within those countries, there are hundreds of regions, hundreds of subregions, villages, appellations, all that bullshit. And you need to know the soil compositions and topography of all those countries. Okay. So you can learn all that stuff. You can learn everything about maps, everything about cartography, everything about the geography of wine. It'll take you thousands of hours. And at that point, there's a good solid chance you still be getting no bitches. Okay. This is impressive, but it's not enough. Okay. Laws. This is the next big move. Okay. This is a huge move. And it's usually the one thing that separates the men from the boys, in our business. You need to know the laws, not just for every country, but also for every sub-appellation in that country. Just in the United States, we have the U.S. law, what we have what's called the TTB right here, Alcohol and Tobacco Tax and Trade Bureau. That's for all of America, but within each state, it's a little bit different, okay? Within France, each region is a little bit different. Within Germany, you have the VDP, you have all these different governing bodies and laws and everything like that. And you need to know these to a T, because you could be asked a question about them at any time. And if you fuck that up, it's not going to be great. If you pass all this shit and you learn all your laws and you spend a couple thousand hours trying to learn every single law, you can't do it, by the way, but you'll try your best to learn every single law. Congratulations, you're probably able to pass the California State Bar exam. So this is a text wall. You can pause the video if you'd like, but this is just a small, like 1% of everything you need to know about laws in wine producing countries. Okay. Secondly, is the families. Okay, so it's not just enough, or pardon me. Thirdly, it's not just enough to know about how wine is made, where wine is made, but you need to know who is also making wine. Okay, almost every high-end wine producing country has a few families that really built the business. Okay, a lot of these people are from the Merovingian dynasty, Rothschild's dynasty, anything Illuminati related bloodlines, anything like that. You know, these are all generationally wealthy families. They're all incredibly, the Antonori family, 20 generations in the business, 26 generations in the business, whatever you want to call it. These are all, a lot of these people are drinking blood, a lot of blood rituals, blood sacrifice, conquering continents, creating religions, weird nighttime, like howling at the moon type shit, satanic stuff for sure. All of these families are basically, if not directly connected, 1 degree of separation from a general Illuminati. So just know that it's a big part of our business. If you're looking, personally, I'm in the market to join. I am waiting for that invitation. So if anyone likes my content, not only can you guys feel free to like and subscribe, but you can also shoot me that invite to any sort of Masonic lodge or like Shriners type activity. Here's a little text wall of some of the more important families. You should learn everything about these families. You should also learn pretty much their entire family tree. So like each one of these probably has like 50 important people. So you can do some quick maths right there. It's probably a couple thousand people you need to learn just to become, a moderate professional in our business. And if it's not enough to know what, where, and who, you need to know why. So world history is why. So it's pretty advantageous if you just get an entire world history, knowledge of it, all of world history, basically from the beginning of time up till right now, because the history of the history of European history, if that makes sense. The story of the story of European history is the story and the history of the Vitis vinifera grape varietals. So, the more you learn about ancient activity, especially European activity, Britain, France, all that stuff. A lot of what we do in the wine business is predicated on the history of Europe, okay, and the New World and things like that. And once you start to kind of understand those underlying concepts, you can infer or make better decisions on potential exam questions and how things develop and things like that. So this is an optional step in your process to become a world-class wine professional. If you are taking the certified sommelier, advanced sommelier, or the master sommelier exam, you will have to do a service exam. Okay, this is incredibly tough, and it's one that's often misrepresented by how hard it is. Okay, it's incredibly hard. I took an advanced examination for one of these two groups, and I remember I was holding a tray and they asked me to pour out of one bottle. I'd already opened the bottle, but they asked me to pour 18 glass. It was 18 champagne flutes after I counted. I had not counted previously. And I had to pour that wine bottle equal amounts into 18 different glasses. It was literally like an ounce and a quarter for every single glass. And I managed to pass the exam, which I'm very happy about. That was just for my certified sommelier exam, pardon me. But there's a bunch of just general bullshit, general antics. So it's basically like they could ask you anything. And not only that, they're grilling you with questions. So the one thing I didn't mention is the Court of Master Sommeliers is not just a wine organization like WSET is just wine exams. The Court of Master Sommeliers will ask you about beer. It'll ask you about spirits. It'll ask you about liqueurs. It'll ask you about, I think now they're doing non-alcoholic beverages like mocktails as well. So you have to know all that shit. And they're constantly grilling you with questions while you're doing this stuff. And your hands are sweating and shit. It's not easy. So our final part of the examination process is the most well known. It's the thing you might have seen before. It is the blind tasting exam. Okay, these exams are incredibly tough. They are for Court of Master Sommeliers. It's 3 whites and 3 reds. You have, what is it? Let's not jump there yet. But this is the tasting grid, just so you know. So you have 2 different tasting grids. On your left is the Court of Master Sommeliers. On the right is the WSET, Systematic Approach to Tasting Wine, also known as the SAT. These are how you evaluate each and every wine. You will have to go through a full grid for both of these. Verbal for Court of Master Sommeliers, completely written for WSET Level 4. Depends on your strengths and weaknesses, which one you might be better at. So also shout out to the WSET. This is a literal 50-page manual just on how to evaluate wine. So if you really want to dive deep, you totally can. For the Court of Master Sommeliers, the MS exam, the tasting exam, you have 3 whites, 3 reds, 25 minutes, roughly about 4 minutes and 20 seconds per wine. So you have to guess everything from grape varietal to region to sub-region to vintage to cool climate to warm climate. You have to provide backup information. One thing that doesn't get said ever, that isn't communicated very well, it's not every wine in the world. Okay, when you sit for these exams, it is not every single wine in the world. It's actually very few wines. You cannot be served Echieritico from Greece. Okay, that's not going to show up on the exam. You can't be served Petit Syrah from the Negev Desert in Israel. Pardon me if I pronounced that wrong. Negev. You won't see Bordeaux blends from Ningxia, China. Okay, that shit's not going to come up on the exam. What you are going to get is classic wines from classic regions, and a little bit of curveballs in there. But you basically can't, I mean, you can infer a lot of stuff, and a lot of what we do in a deductive world is we taste and we make really educated guesses. But if you don't know what you're doing, you are literally standing at the plate and someone is hurling 105-mile-an-hour fastballs at you, and you are just striking out left, right, and center. You know, you can spend thousands of hours blind tasting, and you can come up to the plate and you can still whiff. You know, we do have, you know, you want to bat 300. If you can bat 300 in this business, if you can hit 3 out of 10 balls, if you can get a ground roll single or a ground roll double on 3 out of 10, you might pass your master exam. Very few people hit more than that, especially when the game is on the line. So just know that. But that being said, you pass all your exams, you pass theory, you pass service, you pass your tasting. You are now a fully minted master sommelier, or a WSET diploma graduate, or you are a master of wine. Those are kind of the top of the ladder for the wine business. You have achieved success. You have a $250,000 a year career. You do brand ambassadorship. You travel the world. You talk about Krug champagne, and you get people throwing money at you, and people want to invite you. Get invited to every party. Great, good for you. You know, you're an integral member of the society of the wine Illuminati elites. But the final, and this is really important, guys. You spend a decade or more studying for these exams. You fuck off your life. You fuck off your friendships. I know I have. You fuck off your living situation. You live like an animal. You're basically live, eat, sleep, breathe. I mean, I've had jobs where I've run wine programs on a private island. I've worked 80 hours a week. You know, you can still have massive success in this business, and you still get no bitches. Okay, do not allow yourself to get completely consumed by this business. If you love wine, if you're in it for the long haul like me, you're going to go through peaks and valleys, man. and it's not easy. You're gonna fail some exams. I've been lucky. I've only failed one exam in all of my experience tasting and working with wine, and I was able to kind of get back up there and smash it the next round. Um, but as I'm gearing up for my MW program right now, I wanna give a shout out to everyone that's sitting for their masters programs, and just remember, take some time. Don't go crazy. Don't lose your life to this business, and try to have some balance in your life. So thank you guys very much. I hope you guys enjoyed my presentation. It's your boy Big Trill. This is my first video. I'm going to be releasing videos on every single sub-region and region for the wine business. I might get into families and stuff like that. I will not be showing my face ever, just because the nature of our business. It's a very small pool of people, and I don't want to jeopardize my career and my education. So thank you guys. If you're interested in more wine terrorism videos, I'm going to keep popping them out. So thank you very much. Have a blessed evening. Be safe.